Good morning, Ridgeway Church. My name is Haran Malilo, and I am a member at Ridgeway, and I've been a member for about 7 years now. September is National Recovery Month, and I'd like to share with you my recovery of porn addiction. So, at the age of 10, I was introduced to pornography. I remember I was in a basement at my dad's house. I was visiting my dad that weekend, and a friend of mine who was older started pulling up images on the internet. And ever since that day, it was, everything kind of spiraled downhill. It changed the way that I looked at women in a very objective way. And it affected my relationships. It changed the way that I talked to girls, and ultimately changed the way, I spoke to God. My intimacy lacked because there was shame there. So it became almost ritual-like. I would be out, with family, with friends, and I couldn't wait to go home and isolate myself and kind of just be in my own space with my pornography. And if you're anything like me, I like to have a checklist and to check things off the box. And I felt as if, I needed to fill my time with things that I needed to do. And, once I got my to-do list done, I was like, okay, well, I would justify in my head, like, okay, I need to reward myself, and that would be pornography. So that's one way I justified my actions. So, as I mentioned before, I had feelings of shame because what I was doing I knew was wrong, but it was very hard to stop. Like I mentioned before, it kept me isolated. I wanted to keep what I was doing in secret. It's not something that I wanted to talk about, and it also felt very taboo to speak of, and it was very much kept on the down low. So, another feeling that I had was, fear of losing that instant gratification. Because if you're anything like me, it's I want what I want now, and that's what pornography gave for me. So there is almost a fear of losing it. So that's kind of the reason why I held on so tight, and it's something that I became dependent on. Couldn't wait to get home from school and go in my room and kind of isolate myself from friends, from family. That's kind of when I knew there was an issue there. I didn't really want to acknowledge it because it gave me this instant gratification, but I knew something was wrong for sure. So the turning point for me when my relationship with my now wife became very serious. My wife, she was greatly damaged by the effects of pornography when she was younger by certain individuals in her life, and I didn't want to make those wounds any deeper. So, at the beginning, I partly did it for her, but, ultimately I knew that my soul was in jeopardy and that I needed to get right with the Lord. That's when God opened the door to a place where I can bring these secrets, this secret sin, into the light. And that's where the Conquer series came in. These are a few of the books of the Conquer series, the journal, and I have a few other books here, which is a DVD series that you watch the series and you go through with your small groups. So in this Conquer series, we became very educated, surrounding some of the enemy's schemes and the lies, and really digging deep into what is true and what is not. We also went into some of the neurological effects of the brain and how that really does affect the way that you walk, talk, and everything that you do, and the spiritual damage that it does. It created a blockage of, my intimacy with the Lord. So, this group, I was able to be vulnerable and just to be able to share freely about my struggles and what I was going through, and knowing I wasn't being judged. So, a few of the things that, that I learned and that came to me was, porn is, it's addictive and it changes your brain. It's exactly like a drug. Porn will, leave you lonely, and it'll isolate you, kind of like I was just sharing before. I was up in my bedroom and, people couldn't find me. Porn will, hurt your partner. I know that it hurt my spouse almost immediately before we even became husband and wife. It'll make you a poor lover, for sure. And because what you see is not reality. It's not the way that God intended sex to be. It's been perverted, by the enemy and kind of twisted. So porn is an alien. It's non-human, and it's full of lies. And porn, believe it or not, it fuels the sex trafficking industry. And these are just a few of the secular reasonings behind it. And this is, so you can only imagine what this does to your soul. But I'm here to encourage you. There is hope in healing of the stronghold that is over you. Jesus is for you, and is what he wants for you is to walk in freedom, and it's to walk into light. And just to kind of wrap things up, this Conquer series it's not just a quick fix. It's not something where if you're like-minded as myself, it's not something where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna do this kind of series, I'm gonna be healed, and it's gonna be over with. No, it's a daily battle. And just to think about some practical things, like this is a journal. This is something that I kept with me daily. And what's so great about this series is you're partnered up with like-minded individuals who are struggling with the same thing that you are. And the community that I was in the brotherhood really helped me. The accountability was probably something that I don't want to I want to just stress, because there's times where I feel weak, and I would be vulnerable to temptation, and I get a phone call from one of my brothers, and he would just be like, hey, this has been on my heart, and you came up, and I just want to pray with you. How are you doing? And it's almost like perfect timing. It's God's timing, and we talked every single day, and it's really something that's amazing. So I want to share with you a verse to kind of end and wrap it up here. It's 2 Corinthians 4, 16 through 18. It reads, "Therefore we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us in an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." Thank you all. God bless.